Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to remind you of something that should be at the forefront of every mind: the value of time. You see, time is the one resource that once lost can never be regained. Not a single second, not a single moment. And yet so many of us live as if we have all the time in the world. We drift from day to day, letting life happen to us instead of making life happen for us. How much longer will you wait to live the life you were created for? How much longer will you let another year slip away, wasted in the shadow of unfulfilled dreams, lost potential, and unrealized purpose? I am here to challenge you today. Don't waste another year of your life. Don't let this year pass like the ones before, unnoticed and unmarked by the progress you deserve. The truth is simple: time is the one thing you can never get back. Every year that passes is another opportunity either embraced or lost. The power of vision is what will move you forward. A vision is a roadmap for your life. Without it, you are merely existing, waiting for something to happen instead of making it happen. You can't reach a destination if you don't know where you're going. When you have a vision for your life, you will find purpose in everything you do. You'll see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll act with intention, not by default. But too many of us are waiting for the right moment to act. We wait for perfect conditions, the perfect timing, or the perfect opportunity to come. But let me tell you something: there is no such thing as perfect timing. The right time to take action is now. You may not have everything you want to move forward, but you have everything you need to get started. Don't wait for conditions to align. Create the conditions you need through your actions. I urge you, don't let procrastination steal your future. Every moment you delay is a moment that could have been used to build the life you deserve. Waiting is not a strategy for success, it's a strategy for failure. Procrastination is a silent killer, robbing you of your potential, one delay at a time. It's time to stop putting off what you can do today. Understand this: you are your greatest asset. The most valuable investment you can make is not in stocks, not in property, but in yourself. The growth of your mind, the development of your character, and the honing of your skills are the only investments that will never fail you. Your potential is unlimited when you decide to tap into it. But in order to fully tap into that potential, you must also learn to take responsibility for your life. Stop blaming your circumstances, your upbringing, your past mistakes, or the people around you for where you are today. Your life is a result of the decisions you have made up until this point. If you want to change your future, you must begin by making different choices today. You must take control and stop living as a victim of life. Every day that you wake up is an opportunity to create a legacy. What you do today matters. The choices you make today, the habits you build today, will shape the life you lead tomorrow. A year from now, you will look back and either be proud of how far you've come or regret that you didn't make the most of this precious time. So I ask you again, how much longer will you waste? How much longer will you let life pass by while you sit on the sidelines? Don't wait for someone else to change your life for you. Don't wait for your circumstances to improve. Let's start now. Commit to your vision. Commit to your growth. Commit to making this year the year you stop wasting time and start creating the future you were born to have. The time is now. Your life is waiting for you to step into it. Don't waste another year of it. Time is one of the greatest gifts we have been given, yet it is also the most easily overlooked. We often take it for granted, assuming that we will have as much of it as we need or want, when in reality, time is finite. It is the one resource that we can never replenish, no matter how much we desire to. The hours of today, once gone, are gone forever. Every minute that passes is a minute that we will never get back. The beauty of time lies in its preciousness, and yet many of us treat it carelessly, as if we can always start over tomorrow. But the truth is, tomorrow is never promised. The only moment we are truly sure of is the one we are in right now. Time is a currency, but unlike money, we can't store it up for later. We can't earn back lost time through hard work or perseverance. Time is a gift, and it is a gift that demands respect. If you squander it, you are squandering one of the most valuable assets you will ever have. The truth is, most people don't realize how much time they've wasted until it's too late. When they look back, they see years gone by filled with unfulfilled dreams, lost opportunities, and idle days that added up to very little. Consider this: each year, each month, each week, and each day is an opportunity that you will never have again. Think about the opportunities that are waiting for you right now, the people you can meet, the skills you can develop, the goals you can achieve. But those opportunities won't wait for you forever. Life moves forward with or without you. Time doesn't pause, and it certainly doesn't slow down to accommodate our procrastination, our fear, or our doubts. We have to come to a place where we understand that time is not to be wasted. The way we spend our time will determine how we look back on our lives. A year from now, you could be in the exact same place you are today, or you could have moved forward, accomplished more, grown, and made progress toward your dreams. The choice is yours. Every second counts, and what you do with it now will impact your future. Time is the greatest equalizer. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, how talented or ordinary you may feel, every person is given the same amount of time in a day. What separates those who live fulfilling lives from those who don't is how they use that time. The people who achieve great things are not necessarily more gifted or more fortunate than others. They are simply more intentional with their time. They understand that every moment is a chance to move closer to their purpose. They don't waste time on things that don't serve their vision. They invest it wisely. The reality is that the time we spend today shapes the life we will lead tomorrow. When you waste time, you waste your future. So often people will tell you that they're too busy or too tired or too overwhelmed to work on their dreams or to focus on what truly matters. They may fill their time with distractions, with things that give them temporary pleasure, but add little value to their long-term growth. This is the trap, the illusion that we have endless time, that the future is far enough away that it doesn't need our immediate attention. But the truth is, the future is always closer than we think. The time you waste today is time that you will never get back, and tomorrow is shaped by the choices you make now. We have to start seeing time as an investment in our future, our growth, and our dreams. Each day, each hour is a deposit into the future we are creating for ourselves. How will you look back on the way you spent your time? Will you be proud of how you used the gifts you were given, or will you regret not having used your time more wisely? Recognizing the gift of time means understanding that it is precious and fleeting. When you truly grasp that time is limited, you begin to live with intention. You begin to make decisions that align with your highest priorities, not your temporary moods or distractions. You stop allowing the world to dictate how you spend your time, and instead you take charge. You get proactive. You invest your time in things that will build your character, develop your skills, and bring you closer to your vision. The first step to respecting the gift of time is to value it. Value it so much that you no longer allow it to slip away unnoticed. You begin to live with urgency, not out of fear, but out of appreciation for the time you have. Every moment is an opportunity, and it's up to you to make the most of it. What will you do with the time you have today? How will you use this gift? The clock is ticking, and the answer lies in the choices you make right now. Vision is the force that propels us forward, that ignites the drive within us to reach beyond where we are and into the realm of what is possible. It's the blueprint of our future, the picture of what we hope to create, even when the circumstances of today might not reflect that possibility. Without vision, life can feel aimless, like a ship drifting on a vast ocean without a destination. We may go through the motions, following the patterns of everyday life, but we're not truly living with purpose. Vision is what transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's what allows us to see beyond our current reality and imagine a future that compels us to act. A clear vision gives you direction. It's a map that tells you where you're headed, and when you know where you're going, every step you take becomes more purposeful. Without vision, we can become easily distracted by the noise and clutter of life. We chase after things that don't matter, or we fall into routines that keep us busy but don't bring us any closer to the life we truly desire. When we have a vision, we have a reason to rise every morning with intent. We know why we're doing what we're doing, and each decision we make aligns with that purpose. Vision is also what gives us resilience in the face of challenges. When life gets difficult and your vision is what keeps you going, it becomes the fuel that powers you through the storms. In those moments when the road ahead seems unclear or when obstacles seem insurmountable, your vision reminds you of what's possible and why you can't give up. It's the fire that refuses to be extinguished, even when everything around you tries to put it out. Vision helps you stay focused on the bigger picture, even when the details seem overwhelming. But vision isn't just about having a dream or a goal. It's about having a compelling vision, a vision that moves you, excites you, and energizes you to take bold action. A vision that is so powerful that it shapes your thoughts, your choices, and your actions. It's not just a wish or a vague desire, but a clear, detailed picture of who you want to become and what you want to accomplish. A compelling vision requires you to think beyond the limits of your current situation and imagine a life where those limitations no longer exist. It challenges you to grow, to stretch, and to reach higher. A true vision often involves more than just personal success. It is connected to a deeper purpose. It's about making a difference, contributing to something greater than yourself. The most fulfilling visions are those that not only elevate the individual, but also have a positive impact on others, on your community, your family, or even the world at large. It's about understanding that your life has a purpose beyond simply fulfilling your own desires. Your vision should be a reflection of the unique gifts you have to offer and the difference you want to make in the world. When your vision is connected to something bigger than yourself, it gives you a sense of meaning that can't be taken away by temporary setbacks. The power of vision also lies in its ability to inspire action. Vision without action is just a dream. But when vision and action come together, transformation happens. Vision fuels action by giving you something to work towards. It clarifies what needs to be done, helps you set goals, and keeps you motivated when the journey gets tough. Without vision, action can feel aimless. You may work hard, but it will feel like you're putting in effort without seeing meaningful results. When you have vision, every task, no matter how small, feels like it is part of a larger, meaningful process. Vision creates momentum. It propels you forward even when you feel like quitting. But here's the thing: vision requires courage. It requires the courage to believe in something greater than your current reality, to take risks, and to step into the unknown. It's easy to settle for the comfortable and familiar, to live according to what seems safe or logical. But a vision often calls you out of that comfort zone and challenges you to step into the realm of the unknown. It's in those moments of uncertainty that your vision will either hold you back or push you forward. If you truly want to live the life you are capable of, you have to be willing to face the fear that comes with stepping into your vision. Your vision is also an evolving thing. It grows and changes as you grow and change. It's not set in stone. As you pursue your goals and gain experience, your vision may expand, deepen, or shift in ways you couldn't have anticipated at the beginning. Sometimes life will lead you down unexpected paths that are part of a bigger picture. Embrace that. Embrace the unfolding nature of your vision. But whatever direction it takes, keep moving forward. Keep your eyes on the vision, because that is what will keep you grounded and focused when things get difficult. Vision is contagious. When you live with vision, you inspire others to do the same. The energy and passion you bring to the pursuit of your own vision will radiate outwards, affecting those around you. People will begin to ask what drives you. What is your purpose? Your vision becomes a living testament to the power of purpose and direction. It's not just about what you achieve, but the way you live your life that influences and uplifts those who are watching you. By living your vision, you help others find theirs. The power of vision lies in its ability to transform your life. It pulls you out of mediocrity and sets you on the path to greatness. It moves you from a life of reaction to a life of intention. It enables you to face the future with hope, courage, and confidence, knowing that the best is yet to come and that you have the power to make it happen. Too many people live their lives on autopilot, reacting to circumstances and allowing the external world to dictate their decisions. They wake up each morning and go through the motions, not really choosing how their day unfolds, but simply responding to whatever comes their way. This is what it means to live by default, to let life happen to you, rather than taking charge and creating the life you want. When you live by default, you allow external influences like society's expectations, the opinions of others, or the pressures of daily life to guide your decisions, rather than living in alignment with your own values, purpose, and vision. Living by default is a life of passivity. It's a life where you wait for opportunities to come to you instead of going out and creating them. It's a life where you are constantly putting out fires, dealing with whatever problems or challenges arise, but never really taking time to think about the bigger picture, the life you want to build. When you live by default, you are merely reacting, not planning. You are responding to what's happening around you rather than shaping what happens next. It's like being a passenger in your own life, letting someone else or something else steer the direction. But this way of living is dangerous. Over time, it becomes easier to just go along with the flow, to keep doing what you've always done, because it's comfortable or familiar. It's easy to follow the crowd and do what others expect of you, to take the path of least resistance. But when you do this, you stop asking the most important question of all: what do I truly want? What is it that I am meant to do with my life? What do I want to create, to achieve, to experience? When you stop asking these questions, you stop living with purpose. and you begin to live by default. Living by default robs you of the power to make intentional choices. It disconnects you from your own desires, your passions, and your true potential. Instead of creating your life, you simply accept whatever life hands you. And while this may feel easier in the short term, it's a path that leads to frustration, regret, and unfulfilled dreams. Deep down, we all have the capacity to live a life of intention. We all have the ability to choose to shape our future with the decisions we make today. But living by default tells us that we are powerless, that we don't have control. It convinces us that we're at the mercy of circumstances, when in reality, we have far more control over our lives than we realize. One of the biggest traps of living by default is that we forget that we are the creators of our own reality. We often get caught up in the idea that life is something that happens to us, instead of something we actively participate in creating. We forget that the way we spend our time, the people we surround ourselves with, the choices we make, all of these things play a role in shaping our future. But when you live by default, you surrender that power. You stop making conscious decisions and instead let external circumstances or the opinions of others determine your course. The truth is, life will always present challenges, setbacks, and difficulties. There will always be reasons to justify living passively, reasons to fall into the trap of living by default. It's easy to get caught up in the everyday grind, to lose sight of our bigger goals and dreams and to focus only on getting through the day. But when you live by default, you are living in reaction to those challenges rather than proactively working to overcome them. Life becomes about surviving, not thriving. It becomes about coping with circumstances instead of consciously creating the life you desire. To stop living by default, you must begin to take responsibility for your life. You have to realize that you are in the driver's seat. You get to decide what your day, your week, your month, and your life will look like. This requires a radical shift in mindset, moving from a passive mindset to an active one, from being a victim of circumstances to being the architect of your own destiny. Instead of letting life push you around, you start pushing back. Instead of reacting to problems, you take control and make decisions that move you forward. It starts with small, deliberate actions. Start by setting clear intentions each day. Ask yourself, what is my purpose today? What is the most important thing I can do right now to move closer to my vision? Don't let the day slip by without making purposeful decisions. Whether it's a small action like organizing your workspace or a bigger one like taking steps toward a long-term goal, make it count. The more you practice intentional living, the more you begin to feel empowered, as though you are in charge of your life. You also need to get clear about what matters to you. So many people waste time and energy on things that don't truly bring them joy or fulfillment. They live according to what society values or what others expect of them, without ever stopping to ask, what do I truly want? What is it that I care about? What brings me fulfillment? When you start to live according to your own values and desires, you stop being controlled by external forces. You make decisions based on what you believe is important, not on what others think is important. Another key to stopping this cycle of living by default is learning to say no. When you're living passively, it's easy to say yes to everything, to commitments, responsibilities, and obligations that aren't aligned with your vision or your purpose. But to live intentionally, you need to prioritize your time. You need to protect it by saying no to things that don't serve you. Saying no is not about being selfish, it's about making space for what truly matters. It's about choosing what aligns with your purpose and your vision, and letting go of anything that detracts from it. When you live intentionally, you become the creator of your own life. You shape your circumstances instead of being shaped by them. You take ownership of your choices and begin making decisions that move you forward. Every choice, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to create the life you want. You stop living by default, and instead you start living by design. The idea that we must wait for perfect conditions before taking action is one of the most pervasive myths that holds people back from achieving their goals. It's the illusion that things must align perfectly before we can begin, that we need the right moment, the ideal set of circumstances, or the perfect resources to move forward. The reality, however, is far different. Perfection does not exist in the real world. Conditions are never truly perfect, and waiting for them to be so is a recipe for procrastination and missed opportunities. What most people fail to recognize is that action itself creates the conditions for success. Waiting for the right moment is often a form of self-deception, a way to justify inaction by claiming that the timing isn't right yet. But by waiting for things to fall into place on their own, You're overlooking one crucial truth: action precedes results. The act of beginning or moving forward despite uncertainty, ambiguity, or imperfection is what creates the momentum that eventually leads to success. Conditions rarely improve on their own without effort. Instead, you must create the conditions you need by taking action and then adapt as things evolve. In many ways, this fear of imperfection is rooted in the pursuit of certainty, the desire to control every variable before committing to any decision. This is often tied to perfectionism, which can paralyze progress. The fear of failure or making mistakes often overrides the need to move forward, and so people wait, hoping for circumstances to get better or for their fears to subside. But waiting for certainty is counterproductive because life by its very nature is uncertain. When you delay action in pursuit of certainty, you're essentially stalling your progress. The only way to gain clarity or insight is through experience, and the only way to gain experience is to act. Perfect conditions are a moving target. Even when it seems like everything is lined up, there will always be new challenges, obstacles, and unforeseen factors that emerge. The so-called perfect scenario is an illusion that often shifts the goalposts. People who wait for perfect conditions end up finding that once they think everything is in place, new hurdles appear. This is why successful individuals don't wait for everything to align. They forge ahead with what they have, knowing that conditions can never be completely ideal, and that they will need to adapt and adjust as they progress. The notion of waiting for perfect conditions also has a dangerous side effect: it procrastinates growth. The longer you delay taking action, the longer it will take to learn the lessons, gain the skills, or accumulate the experience necessary to succeed. By putting off the start, you not only delay your progress, but you also delay the inevitable learning process. Whether you succeed or fail, each experience is a lesson. But if you wait for the perfect conditions, you bypass the very process that will teach you what you need to know. In fact, failure is often the greatest teacher. The fear of failure, which is tied to waiting for the perfect circumstances, is actually holding you back from the success you seek. If you can embrace the idea that failure is simply a stepping stone to success, you will begin to understand that action is more valuable than inaction. Failure, while uncomfortable, gives you data. It tells you what works, what doesn't, and what needs to be improved. Every small failure brings you closer to success because each one provides valuable feedback that guides your next move. In the world of entrepreneurship, business, and personal development, the most successful people are those who understand this principle. You must be willing to start with what you have and iterate along the way. The process of trial and error is not only inevitable, it's essential. Those who wait for perfect conditions risk watching others move ahead while they remain stuck, waiting for the right moment that will never come. In the digital age, with technology evolving at an unprecedented rate, the ability to adapt and respond quickly is more important than ever. The most successful businesses, projects, and individuals are often those who take action and pivot quickly in response to new information or changing conditions. Waiting for perfection can lead to stagnation, whereas adaptability, the ability to act and adjust based on real-time feedback, leads to growth and innovation. The key to overcoming the desire for perfect conditions is understanding that progress is built on momentum. The initial step, no matter how small or imperfect, triggers the next one. Action compounds. Once you take that first step, no matter how uncertain or flawed, it sets in motion a sequence of events that will eventually lead to growth and improvement. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to act. But once you begin, the process of improvement accelerates. The idea of waiting for perfect conditions also overlooks the value of experience. Many of the skills, insights, and breakthroughs that lead to success cannot be acquired through planning or theorizing. They can only be gained through doing. When you wait for the ideal set of circumstances, you deprive yourself of the opportunity to accumulate experience and develop the skills that come only from direct engagement with the task at hand. In sum, waiting for perfect conditions is a form of avoidance. It's a way of procrastinating in the hope that external circumstances will eventually make things easier. But the truth is, things rarely become easier on their own. Action creates the conditions for success. It's time to stop waiting and start doing. Perfection is not the prerequisite for success, action is. It is the foundation upon which all progress is built. Begin with what you have and adjust as you go. Every imperfect step forward brings you closer to your goals than waiting ever will. Commitment to growth is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life. It's the decision to refuse to stay where you are, to reject stagnation, and to embrace the idea that you can always improve, learn, and evolve. The truth is, growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you intentionally commit to it, do it day in and day out. This commitment goes beyond simply seeking to improve in one area of your life. It's about adopting a mindset of continual development across all areas: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Too often we think of growth as something that is linear or comes in easy, recognizable bursts. But growth is not a smooth path. It's a journey filled with challenges, setbacks, and uncomfortable moments. Committing to growth means committing to the process, understanding that it's often in the struggle, the discomfort, and the failure that the most significant progress is made. It's easy to think that growth will come through effortlessness or comfort, but real, lasting growth is born out of persistence, resilience, and sometimes pain. When you commit to growth, you are making a commitment to become a better version of yourself. You're saying to the world and to yourself that you are not content with staying in your current state. You are constantly evolving, pushing the boundaries of what you thought was possible. This requires a mindset shift from focusing on what you can't do or haven't done yet to focusing on the potential of what you can become. This commitment to growth means you are willing to step outside your comfort zone. Growth rarely occurs when we're in a place of ease. In fact, the most profound growth happens when we push ourselves to do things that scare us or make us uncomfortable. Whether it's learning a new skill, taking on a challenge, or dealing with a difficult situation, growth often comes when we face discomfort head on. Without that willingness to embrace discomfort, we would stagnate. So growth demands courage, the courage to face challenges, the courage to make mistakes, and the courage to step into the unknown. A key part of committing to growth is the ability to learn from failure. Most people are afraid of failure. They fear that failure means they are not good enough or that it's a sign they should give up. But the truth is that failure is one of the most powerful teachers you'll ever encounter. When you fail, you're given feedback, real-world lessons on what works and what doesn't. The most successful people in life are often those who fail the most, but they fail forward. They see every failure as an opportunity to learn and adjust. If you're committed to growth, you cannot be afraid of failure. You must embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Committing to growth also means you are taking responsibility for your own development. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or the past for where we are in life. But when you commit to growth, you take full ownership of your journey. You stop waiting for things to change on their own or for someone else to make things happen for you. You realize that your progress depends on your actions, your decisions, and your willingness to do the work. Personal growth doesn't happen by chance, it happens by choice, and it's up to you to make the necessary sacrifices, put in the effort, and keep your focus on your goals. To commit to growth is also to acknowledge that growth is a lifelong process. There's no finish line when it comes to personal development. The more you grow, the more you realize how much further you can go. As you become more aware of your potential, you begin to see opportunities for growth in every aspect of your life. Growth is not a destination, it's a continuous journey. And the moment you stop growing is the moment you begin to decline. The best version of yourself is not a point in time you will ever reach, but something you are always moving toward. So commitment to growth means adopting a mindset of lifelong learning. Another aspect of growth is the need for self-discipline. It's one thing to want to grow and another thing to actually commit to the daily work that growth requires. It's about making the right choices consistently, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. Growth requires us to make sacrifices, to say no to short-term pleasures in order to build long-term results. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it, pushing yourself when others are quitting, and sticking to your goals even when the path gets tough. Self-discipline is what separates those who merely dream from those who accomplish their dreams. Part of committing to growth is also about developing an attitude of gratitude. While it's important to push yourself to be better, it's equally important to celebrate your progress. Growth is not just about pushing forward, it's also about appreciating how far you've come. Each small step forward is a victory, and by acknowledging that, you keep yourself motivated to keep going. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. And this shift is a key to sustaining long-term growth. A commitment to growth means surrounding yourself with people who encourage and challenge you. The people you spend the most time with play a significant role in your development. If you want to grow, you need to be around people who inspire you, who challenge you to be your best, and who are on the same journey of growth themselves. Being in the company of like-minded individuals who support your aspirations is an invaluable resource. They keep you accountable, offer fresh perspectives, and inspire you when your own motivation wanes. The commitment to growth also requires you to be open to feedback. Often we think of growth as something that happens in isolation, but in reality, we grow most effectively when we're open to the feedback of others. Whether it's feedback from mentors, colleagues, or those who have been on a similar journey, constructive criticism is one of the most powerful tools for growth. It forces us to confront our blind spots and develop new strategies for improvement. The beauty of committing to growth is that it's not about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about having the determination to keep moving forward, no matter how small the steps may be. Growth isn't about suddenly becoming someone else. It's about consistently becoming the best version of the person you are meant to be. Each step of growth, no matter how small, brings you closer to your potential. And as you commit to growth, you'll find that your life becomes more fulfilling, more purposeful, and more aligned with the vision you've always had for yourself. Procrastination is one of the greatest obstacles to success and personal fulfillment. It's a silent thief that steals our time, our potential, and our progress. The hardest part about procrastination is that it's often so easy to justify. We put things off because we feel overwhelmed, because we don't feel ready, or because we convince ourselves that we'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow never seems to come. It's the subtle habit of delay that slowly erodes our confidence, our productivity, and ultimately our dreams. At its core, procrastination is not about laziness, it's about avoidance. It's an emotional response to tasks or situations that we associate with discomfort, fear, or resistance. When we procrastinate, we avoid the feelings of overwhelm or inadequacy that might arise when we think about a big task. We put off what feels like a burden, thinking that by postponing it, we're protecting ourselves from stress or failure. But in reality, procrastination does the opposite. It only heightens anxiety because it leaves us with unfinished business and a growing sense of regret. The longer we put something off, the more pressure it creates and the harder it becomes to actually get started. The first step to eliminating procrastination is recognizing it for what it is, a form of self-sabotage. We delay doing what's necessary because we're afraid of the discomfort that might come with the task. But procrastination is an illusion of relief. It doesn't really make us feel better in the long term, it just postpones the inevitable. When we finally face the task, we often find that it wasn't as difficult as we imagined. What we feared was not the task itself, but the emotional resistance we created around it. Overcoming procrastination requires that we challenge the mindset that leads us to avoid action. We need to shift our focus from the negative emotions that arise when we think about a task to the positive outcome that we will achieve once it's completed. Instead of focusing on how hard something will be or how much work it requires, we need to remind ourselves of the benefits of completing the task. Whether it's the sense of relief, the progress made, or the feeling of accomplishment, focusing on the reward rather than the effort is often the first step in breaking the cycle of procrastination. One of the most effective ways to eliminate procrastination is to break large tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. One of the primary reasons we procrastinate is because a task feels too overwhelming. When we look at the whole picture, it can seem insurmountable. But when we break it down into smaller, actionable pieces, it suddenly feels more attainable. It's much easier to start by taking just one small step than to face the intimidating idea of completing the entire project. Each small action you take not only gets you closer to completion, but it also creates momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in overcoming procrastination. Another important strategy is to set specific deadlines and hold yourself accountable. When there is no clear timeline for a task, it's easy to push it aside. But deadlines create urgency, and urgency creates focus. Setting deadlines forces you to confront the task rather than allowing it to linger indefinitely. The key is to make these deadlines realistic and personal rather than arbitrary or external. You don't need to wait for someone else to set a deadline for you. You can create your own sense of urgency by committing to finish by a certain time and holding yourself accountable to that commitment. It's also important to understand that perfectionism fuels procrastination. Many people delay action because they fear that their work won't be good enough. They wait for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions, thinking that if they wait long enough, their work will be flawless. But this mindset only leads to more delay. Perfectionism creates paralysis because it raises the bar to an unattainable level. To combat this, we need to embrace the idea that progress is more important than perfection. Starting, even imperfectly, is far more valuable than waiting until everything is just right. You can always improve or refine something later, but the key is to start. And starting always beats procrastination. One of the most effective ways to beat procrastination is to create a productive environment. Our surroundings have a profound impact on our ability to focus and take action. If we're surrounded by distractions, clutter, or a chaotic atmosphere, it becomes much harder to concentrate and get things done. But when we consciously create an environment that supports our goals, whether that's organizing our workspace, minimizing distractions, or setting clear boundaries with others, we give ourselves the best chance of staying focused and productive. A cluttered space often reflects a cluttered mind, and decluttering your physical environment can help declutter your mental space as well. It's also helpful to develop a daily routine that includes time for work and time for work and time for rest. When we lack structure, it's easy to let the day slip by without accomplishing what we intended. A well-established routine provides a framework for productivity, ensuring that time is set aside for the tasks that need to be done. Having a routine doesn't mean rigidly adhering to a schedule, but it does mean establishing clear periods of time dedicated to focus, progress, and self-discipline. When we create a rhythm in our day, we make it easier to stay on track and avoid falling into the trap of procrastination. Another important technique is to remove distractions before you start a task. Procrastination thrives in an environment of distraction. Whether it's social media, emails, phone notifications, or even the temptation to check the news, distractions pull us away from the task at hand and make it harder to focus. Before you sit down to work, eliminate as many distractions as possible. Turn off your phone, close unnecessary tabs on your computer, and set a clear intention for what you want to accomplish in that time. The more you can limit external interruptions, the easier it will be to focus and avoid procrastination. It's crucial to celebrate small wins. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. When we complete a task or even make progress toward a larger goal, we need to acknowledge that progress. Celebrating small wins reinforces the positive feelings associated with completing work, and it motivates us to keep going. Procrastination is often fueled by negative feelings of frustration or self-doubt. But when we take time to appreciate our efforts, we shift our focus to what we're accomplishing rather than what we haven't done yet. Eliminating procrastination isn't about willpower alone. It's about changing the mindset, habits, and environment that support it. It's about recognizing that action is the antidote to delay. The longer we wait, the harder it becomes to start. But the sooner we act, the sooner we begin to experience the momentum and the rewards that come from taking consistent, purposeful action. By breaking tasks down into manageable steps, setting deadlines, minimizing distractions, and embracing progress over perfection, we can overcome procrastination and unlock the potential within us to create the life we truly desire. You are your greatest asset. This statement may seem simple, but it carries profound implications for how you approach life, work, and personal growth. Most people spend their time, energy, and resources focused on external circumstances, on what they don't have, what they wish they could do, or what others have achieved. But the truth is, the most valuable resource you possess is you. Your potential, your abilities, your mindset, and your capacity to grow and learn are the key drivers of your success. The idea that you are your greatest asset invites you to look inward. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that external factors like money, status, or connections are what determine your success. And while these things can certainly play a role, the real foundation of success is always within you. The way you think, the way you approach problems, the way you invest in your own development, these are the true determinants of your future. If you want to build a life of significance, it begins with understanding and investing in yourself. One of the first steps in recognizing that you are your greatest asset is acknowledging your own worth. Often we undervalue ourselves, thinking we need to be more like someone else or that our skills aren't in us. We're constantly comparing ourselves to others, measuring our progress by someone else's standards. But when you start to realize that you are unique with your own strengths, talents, and perspective, you begin to understand the immense value you already hold. The key is to stop looking outward for validation and instead begin to see the potential within you. You don't need to become someone else to succeed. You just need to fully embrace and develop who you already are. Another crucial aspect of seeing yourself as your greatest asset is the realization that you control your own growth. While external factors like education or opportunities can certainly influence your development, the most important driver of growth is your mindset. The belief that you can improve, adapt, and learn is essential. When you commit to personal development, when you commit to growing your knowledge, skills, and emotional intelligence, you create a foundation of strength that no one can take away from you. But growth is not dependent on circumstances. It's a choice you make every day. The more you invest in your learning, whether it's through books, courses, or life experiences, the more value you add to yourself. When you view yourself as your greatest asset, you begin to understand the importance of self-care. This isn't just about physical health, although that's a big part of it. It's about maintaining balance in all areas of your life, mentally, emotionally, and physically. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're limiting your ability to be your best. You cannot give your best to the world if you're running on empty. Your body is the vehicle through which you accomplish everything, and your mind is the tool that drives your decisions and actions. Without proper care and attention, neither of these will function at their highest capacity. Taking care of yourself, both inside and out, isn't indulgence, it's an investment. Investing in yourself also means becoming the master of your mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you see yourself as limited, if you see yourself as incapable of reaching your goals, then that belief will become your reality. But if you decide to see yourself as resourceful, capable, and deserving of success, you will begin to act in alignment with that belief. The way you think about yourself determines what you are able to achieve. Having a positive, growth-oriented mindset allows you to overcome obstacles, learn from failure, and remain persistent in the face of setbacks. In many ways, the person you become is the result of the thoughts you continually choose to nurture. When you truly understand that you are your greatest asset, it changes the way you approach your time. You stop seeing time as a fleeting commodity that slips through your fingers. Instead, you begin to see time as one of the most valuable resources you have, and you make choices that align with your long-term vision and goals. You begin to treat your time as an investment, because the more you invest in things that grow and nurture you, the greater the return. Whether it's dedicating time to learning new skills, building meaningful relationships, or pursuing activities that align with your purpose, when you treat yourself as an asset, you prioritize what will pay the greatest dividends in your life. Understanding that you are your greatest asset means you also recognize the power of emotional intelligence. This is your ability to manage your emotions, understand the emotions of others, and use that awareness to guide your thinking and actions. Emotional intelligence is a skill that can be developed, and it plays a critical role in building relationships, making sound decisions, and achieving success. The better you are at managing your emotions, the better you will be at navigating life's challenges and working with others. This self-awareness and self-regulation are not just soft skills, they are essential for creating success and maintaining long-term happiness. The way you view failure also shifts when you understand that you are your greatest asset. Failure becomes not a reflection of your inadequacy, but rather a part of the growth process. Failure is feedback, and when you see it this way, it becomes a valuable learning tool rather than something to be feared. Every failure provides insight into what works and what doesn't, and it's through these lessons that you can refine your approach and get closer to your goals. People who see themselves as valuable assets do not shy away from failure, they embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. As you build your personal asset, you also begin to understand the importance of networking and relationships. While you are your greatest asset, the people you surround yourself with can either amplify or diminish that value. Your relationships with others play a significant role in your success. They challenge you, support you, and provide perspectives that broaden your vision. But more than that, the people you interact with can become partners in your journey. When you build a network of individuals who believe in your growth and who align with your values, you create an ecosystem that accelerates your success. Investing in strong, positive relationships is another way to maximize your potential. When you recognize that you are your greatest asset, it becomes easier to let go of limiting beliefs and the stories you tell yourself that hold you back. Many of us carry with us deep-seated beliefs about what we're capable of based on our upbringing, experiences, or past failures. But the moment you realize that you are capable of far more than you've allowed yourself to believe, your entire approach to life changes. You stop making excuses and start making decisions that are in alignment with the person you know you can become. The stories you tell yourself become empowering, and the barriers that once seemed insurmountable begin to fade away. The key to living a fulfilling, successful life is in understanding that you are the one constant factor in your journey. While you may not control all the circumstances around you, you do have control over your actions, your choices, and your growth. By investing in yourself, your mind, your body, your relationships, and your emotional health, you unlock the greatest potential for success. The world can change around you, but as long as you see yourself as your greatest asset, you will always be positioned to adapt, grow, and thrive. Choosing purpose over pleasure is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life. It's a mindset that shifts the focus from immediate gratification to long-term fulfillment, from fleeting satisfaction to lasting impact. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages of instant gratification, whether it's in the form of entertainment, food, material possessions, or other pleasures, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of what feels good in the moment. But real growth, true fulfillment, and lasting success come from consistently choosing purpose, even when it requires sacrifice or delayed gratification. Pleasure is often short-lived. It's the experience of satisfaction that comes from a temporary escape, whether it's a vacation, a shopping spree, a great meal, or simply unwinding in front of the TV. These moments, while enjoyable, rarely provide lasting meaning or fulfillment. They can even distract us from the deeper, more meaningful work we're called to do. Pleasure isn't inherently bad, but when it becomes the center of our lives, when we seek it above all else, we lose sight of our greater purpose, the mission that gives our lives meaning, direction, and significance. Purpose, on the other hand, is a long-term commitment. It's the vision that guides your life, the cause that drives you, the values that shape your decisions. It's not about avoiding pleasure altogether, but about putting it in its proper place. Purpose gives you clarity of direction and a sense of fulfillment that short-term pleasures can never provide. It's the work that fulfills your soul, the mission that makes you feel alive, and the reason that pushes you forward even when it's tough. When you choose purpose over pleasure, you are aligning yourself with your higher calling and your long-term potential. One of the most important realizations when it comes to purpose is that it requires discipline and commitment. Unlike pleasure, which is often driven by impulse and immediate desire, purpose requires a steady, intentional effort. It's not always easy, and it's not always fun in the short term, but the rewards of living a purpose-driven life are immeasurable. Committing to your purpose means doing the hard work even when you don't feel like it, making the difficult choices even when the easier option is tempting. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes not from chasing every desire, but from pursuing what you know is meaningful and important to you. Purpose is what drives personal growth. It forces you to stretch beyond your comfort zones and challenge yourself in ways that instant pleasure never could. When you focus on pleasure, you tend to remain in your comfort zone, seeking easy wins and immediate rewards. But purpose pushes you to grow, to learn, to overcome obstacles, and to achieve something greater than yourself. Whether it's a career ambition, a personal mission, or a cause you deeply care about, your purpose requires you to become more than you are right now. It forces you to develop the skills, the mindset, and the resilience necessary to fulfill your vision. Choosing purpose over pleasure also means that you embrace sacrifice and delayed gratification. The most successful people in life didn't get where they are by choosing short-term pleasures over long-term goals. They had to make sacrifices. They had to say no to some things in order to say yes to what truly mattered. Delayed gratification is a hallmark of personal success. It's the ability to forego immediate pleasure for the sake of something greater that will bring more profound and lasting rewards. Whether it's investing time, energy, or resources into your education, your career, or your personal growth, the ability to delay gratification and keep your eyes focused on the bigger picture is essential for long-term achievement. This doesn't mean that pleasure is bad, or that it doesn't have a place in our lives. We are meant to enjoy life and its pleasures, but the key is balance. When we seek pleasure at the expense of our purpose, we lose track of what truly matters. The pleasures of life become distractions, pulling us away from our goals and from the legacy we're meant to create. However, when pleasure is placed in its proper context as a reward for the effort we've put in, as a way to recharge and renew ourselves after we've worked hard toward our purpose, it can be a healthy and necessary part of a well-balanced life. Our purpose gives us the strength to enjoy pleasure without being controlled by it. Another aspect of choosing purpose over pleasure is resilience in the face of adversity. Pursuing a purpose often comes with challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But when you are deeply connected to your why, the difficulties don't seem so insurmountable. When your purpose is clear, it becomes the source of your strength. It's what gets you up in the morning and keeps you going when things get tough. Pleasure, on the other hand, can't sustain you through hardship. When things get hard and you're chasing only pleasure, you may find yourself quitting, distracted, or overwhelmed by discouragement. But when your purpose is bigger than the pain or discomfort you may face, you can push through the hardest of times with resilience and determination. Choosing purpose over pleasure also means understanding the deeper meaning of legacy. Pleasure is about the now, but purpose is about what you leave behind. What will your life have meant when it's all said and done? What impact will you have had on the world, on those around you, on the generations to come? This focus on legacy is what motivates you to live with intention, to make every action count, and to build something that will outlast you. Pleasure by its nature is temporary, but purpose is eternal. The work you do in service of your purpose creates a ripple effect that impacts people's lives long after you're gone. Another powerful reason to choose purpose over pleasure is the fulfillment that comes from contributing to something bigger than yourself. When you are driven by purpose, you tap into a deeper sense of satisfaction that pleasure cannot provide. Purpose is tied to meaning, and meaning is what makes life worth living. It's the reason why some people can find fulfillment in work that is hard, exhausting, or not immediately rewarding, because they know it matters. They know they're making a difference. Whether it's helping others, creating something valuable, or living in alignment with your values, purpose gives your life meaning. Pleasure, no matter how great, cannot replace the feeling of fulfillment that comes from knowing you are living a life of significance. Living with purpose also brings with it a sense of clarity. It simplifies decisions, makes choices easier, and gives you a strong sense of direction. When you have a clear purpose, the distractions of life, the temptations to chase after fleeting pleasures, become less appealing. You are focused. You know what matters. You understand that the things that give you true satisfaction are the things that move you closer to your goals and the legacy you want to leave. You begin to see pleasure for what it is, a short-term experience that can be enjoyed in moderation, but not the main driving force of your life. In the end, choosing purpose over pleasure is about creating a life that aligns with your values, your vision, and your true potential. It's about focusing on what's lasting, what's meaningful, and what will bring you true joy in the long run. Purpose gives you a sense of direction, a reason to keep going, and the fulfillment that short-term pleasures simply cannot provide. When you choose purpose, you choose a life of impact, growth, and meaning, a life that will leave a legacy far greater than any fleeting pleasure ever could. Taking responsibility is the foundational principle that empowers individuals to take control of their lives and shape their future. It is the acknowledgement that you are the author of your own story. Too often, we passively allow circumstances to dictate the direction of our lives, or shift the blame for our struggles onto others or external factors. But when we choose to take responsibility, we reclaim our power to act, to change, and to grow. Taking responsibility begins with a shift in mindset. It means recognizing that no matter what happens to us, we are responsible for how we respond. Life will throw challenges, setbacks, and unexpected changes our way, but it's how we react to those challenges that defines who we are and what we become. It's easy to feel like a victim when things go wrong. It's easy to point fingers at others, blame our environment, or make excuses about why we can't move forward. But in doing so, we give up the one thing that gives us the power to change our situation, control over ourselves and our actions. When we take responsibility, we stop waiting for someone else to solve our problems, and we stop blaming others for our shortcomings. We acknowledge that our decisions, behaviors, and attitudes play a critical role in the outcomes of our lives. Taking responsibility is about embracing the idea that we are in the driver's seat. We may not always be able to control our circumstances, but we can control how we respond to them. And in many cases, our ability to control our response is what determines whether we succeed or fail. Taking responsibility also means accepting that failure is not something to fear, but something to learn from. When we take responsibility for our actions, we stop viewing failure as a reflection of our worth. Instead, we see it as a lesson, an opportunity to grow, and a necessary part of the journey. Every successful person has faced failure. What sets them apart is not that they never failed, but that they never stopped taking responsibility for their actions and learning from their mistakes. When we own our failures, we gain the power to improve, adapt, and try again. We stop blaming circumstances, others, or luck for our failures and start using them as stepping stones towards success. Taking responsibility means recognizing the power of choice. Every day, we are faced with decisions, big and small, that determine the course of our lives. Whether it's the choice to get out of bed early to work toward our goals, to take care of our health, to invest in our personal growth, or to nurture relationships, each choice matters. The life you have right now is a reflection of the choices you have made up to this point. Taking responsibility is about understanding that in many ways your future is determined by the decisions you make today. The power to change your life is in your hands, but it begins with choosing to take full ownership of your actions. Another aspect of responsibility is the willingness to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. It's easy to blame our failures or limitations on external factors like our upbringing, the economy, our family, or our circumstances. But taking responsibility means acknowledging that we have the power to change, to adapt, and to grow regardless of the challenges we face. It means confronting our weaknesses, our fears, and our self-limiting beliefs and choosing to take action to improve them. The hardest part of personal growth is often the courage it takes to face ourselves honestly, to stop making excuses, and to take ownership of the areas where we've fallen short. When we take responsibility, we also learn to respect our time and energy. Every moment we spend focusing on something that does not align with our goals is a moment we are giving away. We stop wasting time on things that don't matter or that don't contribute to our growth. Taking responsibility for our time means setting priorities, being intentional with how we use each day, and committing to our goals. It means being disciplined about our time and recognizing that time, once lost, can never be regained. The more responsible we are with our time, the more productive and fulfilled we become. And importantly, taking responsibility means saying no to distractions or things that pull us off track, even if they seem pleasant in the moment. It's important to note that taking responsibility doesn't mean doing everything alone. In fact, part of taking responsibility is recognizing when to ask for help. It means understanding that we cannot do everything ourselves, but we can still take responsibility for our own growth and for seeking the right support when needed. It's about knowing our limits, but never allowing ourselves to use those limits as an excuse for stagnation or inaction. Whether it's reaching out for mentorship, learning from others, or finding the resources that will enable us to move forward, taking responsibility means owning our need for support and actively seeking the tools that will help us grow. Taking responsibility means being accountable to others. When we are responsible for our actions, we don't shy away from accountability. We own up to our commitments and follow through on the promises we make, both to ourselves and to others. Accountability creates trust, and trust is essential in building strong relationships, both personally and professionally. When we take responsibility for our words and actions, we build credibility and integrity. People will respect you not only for what you do, but for the fact that you stand by your commitments, and when things go wrong, you take ownership and make things right. To truly take responsibility, we must also develop self-discipline. Without discipline, we may have the best intentions, but we won't have the ability to follow through. Self-discipline is the practice of doing what needs to be done, even when we don't feel like it. It's about doing the hard work, sticking to the plan, and resisting the temptation to take the easy road. Discipline requires consistency. It requires saying no to short-term desires for the sake of long-term goals. When we master self-discipline, we become unstoppable. It's one of the clearest markers of personal responsibility. Taking responsibility is not always easy, but it's one of the most empowering choices you can make. It opens up the possibility for change and growth. It is what separates those who live with intention and purpose from those who live reactively. When you take full responsibility for your life, you stop blaming external circumstances, you stop making excuses, and you stop waiting for things to be perfect. Instead, you understand that you have the power to change your circumstances, to shape your destiny, and to live a life aligned with your true purpose. The moment you take responsibility for your life is the moment you step into your full potential. It is the moment you stop waiting for permission or for the world to change around you. It is the moment you realize that you have the ability to create the life you desire. Taking responsibility means claiming your power, making conscious choices, learning from mistakes, and growing stronger every day. And it is in this process that you will find the freedom to live your life to its fullest. Legacy is not something that happens overnight. It's not an event, nor is it an achievement you can check off your list. Legacy is built over time, shaped by the consistent actions, choices, and values you uphold throughout your life. It is the accumulation of your decisions, your integrity, and your impact on others, forged by the steady rhythm of everyday living. What you do today, tomorrow, and every day after that contributes to the legacy you will leave behind. And that legacy is not just defined by what you accomplish, but by who you become and how you influence the world around you. The idea that legacy is built over time means that it requires patience and persistence. Building a legacy is not about seeking instant recognition or reward, but about focusing on long-term value. It's about understanding that the small, seemingly insignificant actions, decisions, and habits you adopt today compound over time to create something much larger and more meaningful. Legacy is often the product of sustained effort, the quiet, consistent work you do day in and day out, even when no one is watching or applauding. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it, doing what needs to be done, even when the rewards aren't immediate, and staying true to your purpose despite the challenges you may face along the way. The nature of legacy also means that it is built on values and principles. It's easy to be swayed by the culture of instant gratification, by the desire for immediate recognition or success. But a lasting legacy is never built on superficial things. It is rooted in your character, your beliefs, and the way you treat others. People don't remember the things you did for a brief moment, but they remember how you made them feel, the integrity with which you conducted yourself, and the principles that guided your actions. Legacy is built on the kind of person you are, whether you are someone who adds value to others, who lives with honor and purpose, and who leaves the world better than you found it. Building a legacy requires an awareness that what you do today impacts the future. The decisions you make today will ripple out far beyond your immediate environment. Your actions may not have immediate consequences, but over time, they accumulate into something far more significant. Every time you make a choice that aligns with your values, you are contributing to the legacy you will leave. Every time you invest in others, whether it's through mentoring, supporting, or encouraging them, you are building a foundation for a legacy of positive influence. And the more you give of yourself, the more you invest in others and in causes greater than yourself, the deeper and more enduring your legacy will be. Legacy is built through actions that honor others, elevate communities, and serve a greater good. It's also important to realize that legacy is not always about fame or public recognition. The world tends to define success by how many people know your name or how much attention you receive, but a true legacy often comes from behind the scenes, from the quiet ways you touch lives without ever seeking accolades. There are countless people whose legacies are profound, but who may never have received public recognition for their work. They may have been educators, parents, mentors, or community leaders who shaped lives, guided others, and made an impact in ways that were not always visible or celebrated. The true value of their legacy is in the lives they've touched and the ripple effect they created, even if that impact wasn't immediately obvious to the world. As you build your legacy, it's crucial to recognize that it's not just about what you leave behind, but also about what you're building along the way. The process of creating a legacy is a journey, not a destination. It's about shaping your character, cultivating relationships, and creating value in every aspect of your life. Every step, every decision, and every challenge you face is an opportunity to reinforce the kind of legacy you want to create. Your legacy is not just about what you've accomplished at the end of your life, but about the person you become throughout it. And as you continue to grow and evolve, you'll find that your legacy evolves with you, taking shape in new and meaningful ways. Another key element of legacy is that it's intergenerational. The impact you make doesn't just end with you, it carries on through the people you influence and the communities you build. The wisdom you impart to younger generations, the values you instill, and the example you set will echo through time. Legacy is often most powerful when it is shared, passed down, and multiplied through others. The impact you have on your children, your students, your colleagues, or anyone whose life you touch can create a lasting ripple that extends far beyond your immediate reach. By investing in others and empowering them to be their best, you're not just building your own legacy, you're helping to build a legacy that will live on through them. As you reflect on the idea of legacy, it becomes clear that it's a matter of intention. Legacy doesn't happen by accident. It's not something that you can just leave up to chance, hoping that somehow something great will emerge from your life. Instead, it requires conscious effort and deliberate choices. To build a meaningful legacy, you must first decide what kind of legacy you want to leave. What do you want people to remember you for? What impact do you want to have on your family, your community, and the world? Your legacy is a reflection of the life you lead, and the more intentional you are about living according to your values, the more powerful your legacy will be. In the process of building your legacy, you will encounter many challenges, setbacks, failures, moments of doubt, and times when it feels like you're not making any progress. But these obstacles are part of the journey, and often they serve as the very foundation upon which your legacy is built. It's how you respond to those challenges that will define the kind of legacy you leave. If you face adversity with resilience, grace, and determination, you will create a legacy of strength and perseverance. If you learn from your mistakes and rise again, you build a legacy of growth and wisdom. Legacy is built through perseverance, the ability to keep going, even when the path is difficult. It's essential to remember that legacy is about living with purpose. To build a meaningful legacy, you must live intentionally with a clear sense of direction and purpose. Purpose gives meaning to everything you do. It guides your decisions, fuels your passion, and gives your efforts the strength to endure. When you live with purpose, every action you take, every goal you pursue, and every relationship you build becomes a part of that larger story. Legacy is not something you create in the final years of your life. It is something you build throughout your life, day by day, decision by decision. It's about living in such a way that when your time comes, you can look back and know that your life was well lived, that you gave it everything you had, and that the impact you made will continue to resonate long after you're gone. Legacy is not an accident. It is the result of how you live each day, the choices you make, and the values you uphold over time. It is built through sustained effort, through contributions to others, through overcoming challenges, and through living with purpose. And ultimately, your legacy is the story of your life, the story of the person you became, and the impact you had on the world around you. So consider carefully what you're doing with your time, your resources, and your energy. Because every moment is an opportunity to build the legacy you want to leave behind. As we come to the end of this reflection on legacy, I want you to understand one thing clearly: your legacy is not something that will be defined by the events of a single moment, but by the sum of your actions over time. It's not about waiting for a big break or a grand gesture that will leave an imprint on the world. Legacy is built in the everyday choices you make, the relationships you nurture, the integrity you uphold, and the impact you have, even in the smallest of moments. You have the power to shape your legacy starting today, in this very moment. The way you live today is creating the legacy of tomorrow. Each decision, each step, each act of kindness, each challenge you rise to meet contributes to the story of who you are and what you will leave behind. You are building something lasting, whether you realize it or not. So, I challenge you to ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What impact do you want to have on the people around you, on your community, on the world? The beauty of legacy is that it's never too late to start building it, and it's never too early to lay down the foundations. Make your choices count. Choose to live with purpose, consistency, and intention. Be someone who lives not for fleeting success, but for enduring significance. Remember, you are the architect of your own legacy. It may take time, it may take sacrifice, but the life you build today is the gift you give to the world tomorrow. Your legacy is waiting to be written, and it starts with the life you choose to live right now. Live with that in mind, and you will leave a legacy that speaks far louder than words ever could.